Hi there, welcome. I want to show you how I take notes. If you're like me, you might have a hard time staying engaged with a sermon as it goes, even if you've been trained how to preach or listen or all these other things. Sometimes it just gets a little heavy. So I found a way to stay engaged is to draw as much of the sermon notes as I can. I'm going to go over more how to do that, but just as an introduction, let me show you kind of some of the tools I use, really pretty much any notebook that's clean like this. These are often the best because they lay flat, but I also have other books that I use that I'll go over as we continue. The main tools I like to use are a 1 or 2 micron or an 8. Those are really two of my favorites just to get some depth. I also use something that's thin, whether it's a 003 or a 005. These really help with some details or small writing. Sometimes I might use a colored micron. Those are usually sold in one. The ink doesn't run, and so that's one of the really good things. When I'm on the go, or if I just have some slightly cheaper things, this Sarasa fine liner has really been a good color fast kind of object. Like I said, it's a little cheaper than the microns typically, but I have them mixed today. So I'll show you kind of how I use them. Obviously, you can use markers or other things. But typically, what I'm going to do is if I'm just doing my regular notes or anything, let's say the pastor starts talking about salvation. Well, salvation as an abstract concept might be hard to draw, but what I usually do is I come in here and I will start, and there's the top. Let's see if you can figure out what's going on. I'm going to bring this right over here, and then I'm going to do the same thing. Now, here's the fun part. I am not the best artist in the world. So part of what I want you to realize is that you don't have to be a perfectionist to do this. So many people out there are going to be way better than I am at this. Normally, what I'm doing here is just really quick. So this is how I basically map out salvation, is that the Lord is my salvation. And so there he is right there, that we've got a life preserver. And this is how I typically am going to show salvation. Now you're going to come back in, you can color it in or not. It's okay. And you can be as fancy with it as you want. Again, typically what I'm doing is trying to keep up with the sermon. So these are not going to be super filled in. Now, if you know that you have a favorite color, um, you can like certainly get a bigger red. Red is probably the one I use the most because something like blood comes up so often. So now what I'm going to have is light. Now we got two options here. If I would have really done this well, I could have put the light inside the salvation, and I came down here too much. So now what I can do though is that I can come in. The Lord is my salvation and my light is the way this is going to be. So when we're going to come through here, I'm going to make this part of the light bulb. Messed up right there, but a little bit. That's okay. Show what I'm going to do. So now, just to help me out here, I'm going to come in and I'm going to take my bigger marker, bigger pen, you might say, and go over some of that. And if I have mistakes, a lot of time this is where I'll fix them. Okay. What that does is just gives a little bit of depth, a little bit of fun right there. Again, you see this. I usually don't have all of the same things quite on my face. So I make this, I'm trying this out the first time. So there's going to be some mistakes. And so here's what I'm going to do. Just to cover that up, I'm going to give a little bit of marker in right there. Got some touches of highlights or whatever. So now, since that kind of messed up, I might come over here, make my line a little bit bigger. Okay, and so now, if I want, I might be able to come in Let's just give some of this right here. So this is that concept right here that you have the light and salvation, or that my salvation and my light, just that those things together. Whom shall I fear? And so now you kind of have this idea that goes together. Again, we're not selling this or marketing this as something we're going to stick up on the wall, so it doesn't have to be perfect. Uh, Sometimes I'm a little bit of a perfectionist, so I look at it and I say, oh, I can do better than that. And of course, you can kind of go back in here as much as you want, and I can make this, I probably am. Heck, why not? We're here. I can make these a little bit bigger. Again, typically I'm drawing these super fast, and I probably should do a little bit better, but I want to encourage you again that you don't have to be perfect at this. You don't have to be an artist. These are typically going to be for you. Now, here I am about to start showing everybody mine. But if you start worried about perfectionism, you're not paying attention to the sermon and you kind of like lose the purpose of what you're doing here. Anyway, so I hope that's a good one that you understand and something that you can like. There's always more that you can do and come in with these right here and add some more shading and coloring. But anyway, I hope that's helpful for the first time. This gives you two of my images of salvation as a life preserver and just a light bulb for light. It's not exactly earth shattering, but again, just things that you can draw really quickly and have fun with it.